Welcome back to Cryptos Are Us. I'm George. We're all George. So welcome to another market open stream. Unfortunately, today we are starting out in the red. So I'm here to talk about Bitcoin volatility. There's a lot of it. It's causing a lot of fear right now. So what's next for the market, for the entire crypto market and for Bitcoin? Let's talk about all these things and more. All right, let's do it. Welcome, guys. So we're opening up the week, even though Bitcoin never sleeps. We're opening up at 40,500, which unfortunately is a little bit less than yesterday and the day before. But overall, yeah, there's a lot more fear. There's a lot more fear out there right now. There's a lot of people wondering what is going on. I mean, if you look at this, the top 100 coins within the last day are all red, except stable coins, right? So there's definitely fear. Retail seems to be panicking right now. There are some that are just taking, maybe, I don't know if they're taking profits or just panic selling, but there's definitely some fear right now. So why is this happening? And what's coming next? That's the most important. What's coming next? Well, we know that right now, because of volatility, because of fear, there's a lot of moving parts, okay, behind the scenes. And I've been showing you guys those moving parts. What am I talking about? Well, we know that ETFs came out 6 days ago. And the ETFs are not just about one, or it wasn't just from one company. It was from multiple company. In fact, over 12 companies and some of the biggest companies on the planet, right? So we have seen a massive amount of wealth transfer. Let's just call it that within basically the last week, you have 95,000 Bitcoins being transferred from the fearful retail investors to the very disciplined and unfearful institutional investors. That's exactly what's happening right now. You have a wealth transfer, and it's unfortunate because this is not how it's supposed to be, right? Retail is supposed to be taking advantage of Bitcoin, because that's why Bitcoin was created, to disrupt the financial systems and to bring power back to the people. But unfortunately, we go through these periods where the transfer goes in reverse, and that really, really sucks. We don't want to see that, but it's clear as day these big boys, these big institutions are gobbling up all the Bitcoin out there right now from the retail investors. They're panic selling. You see, day 6, which already ended, that was last week, last Friday, Fidelity even outperformed BlackRock. Fidelity, let's not forget, is not a small fish in a pond. They're like a top 5 asset manager in the world too. They stocked up 222 million worth of Bitcoin. BlackRock accumulated 200 million worth of Bitcoin. And then Invesco, ARK, and Bitwise all accumulate about 60 million worth of Bitcoin and so forth. The only fund manager that didn't accumulate is Grayscale, who continues to sell by leaps and bounds. At one point, they're going to stop, but right now, there are a lot of selling. But regardless, the big boys are eating up as much as they can. And here's the kicker. While the market is showing weakness, right? You would figure, well, the overall market is weak and everyone is selling off and everyone has no interest. Well, why are these fund managers adding billions of Bitcoin into their funds? In fact, just after 1 week now, BlackRock, which is the iShares, controls 1.4 billion worth of Bitcoin. Fidelity controls about 1.3 billion in Bitcoin. And if you add everyone else up, that's another billion plus, right? That's why we got 4 billion worth of Bitcoin being transferred to big boys. And that's not what we want. That's not what we want at all. But that's exactly what's happening. So you could even make an argument that the weakness right now is just I don't know. I don't know. You can make the argument, and I said this last week, like who's actually behind? Who's behind the weakness? Who's causing the market to drop? Well, if you don't know, right, and you really can't tell and pinpoint who is causing it, well, just look at who benefits the most. And it's these guys right here. And it's happening right in front of our eyes, right? So, unfortunately, that's what's happening. These big boys are taking up all the Bitcoin out there. And don't let that happen, because we know this is temporary. We know that Bitcoin is in a bull run, is going to have the halving event and many catalysts that's coming up just within a matter of months. We're not even talking about years now anymore. Back in 2022, I would have to say, well, keep in mind the halving event is in 2024, in 2 years. I don't have to say that. I could say the halving event is coming in basically 3 months. And there's many other things that's coming within the next few months, right? This is the absolute worst time to be fearful of the market and being driven out of the market by these manipulators or Wall Street or these fund managers. No, this is the absolute worst time to be leaving, especially when you realize that Bitcoin is still above 40,000. Okay, so I mean, you don't have to go back very long on the charts to realize that Bitcoin was way below 40 just a month ago, 2 months ago. We were still hovering in the 30s and in the 20s. So we have come up quite far within a very short amount of time. So again, this is really not the time to be panicking. It's not. Okay. And I've mentioned about the halving event. That's coming up in 3 months, right? It's actually less than 3 months. It's actually more like 2 months and 3 weeks. But leading up to it, okay, we have a lot of similarities between what's happening right now and previous times. Okay. Sometimes you just have to zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. You'll realize that we have gone through periods like this before. We have seen volatility before. We have seen Bitcoin dip before. Okay. And what normally happens is afterwards, we head higher, we forget about it. I mean, that's honestly the truth. No one's going to remember every single dip that we've ever had. Okay? That's just reality. Right now, this is what it's looking like, going all the way back, right? All the way back to like a year ago. We have seen exactly the same thing. We have seen dips, we have seen trend lines, we have seen supports, we have seen resistances, and then what happens? Boom, we break higher. That was showing when Bitcoin was around 16,000, right? We went sideways for a while, around 16, 17,000. It was scary, right? But no one talks about that anymore. No one seems to remember that. What about the period when Bitcoin was around 25,000? We couldn't break it. We kept going upwards to 30,000, and then we fell back down to 25,000 several times. And that was for how many months? That was almost the entire 2023 year. We didn't start moving until October, right? But a lot of people gave up because every time we went up to 30,000, we fell right back down to 25,000. Do you guys remember that? I don't. I forgot about those times. I just remember what started happening in October. That's usually how it is. You remember the good, you forget the bad, but we were stuck at that 25,000 range for basically an entire year. Okay, and we're past it. So this is definitely not time to be fearful or getting driven out of the market. This is the time to shine. This is a time to shine. Here's another example, looking at what happened in 2021 right before the parabolic rise. Okay, we had this bull flag that we broke out of, okay, in 2021. And also if you go back to 2017, but it's too small to see. But we had this little bull flag we broke out of. Then we had a slight dip. And then afterwards, what happened? We just went upwards. And this is according to Fibonacci level. So both times before we hit the 6.618 Fibonacci level after that bull flag. Okay, so in 2017, we went from basically the bottom of 160 to 20,000. In 2021, we went from a bottom of 3,800 to 68,000 or 69,000. And this time around, our bottom was 16,000. Looking at the top of the Fibonacci level, this is saying that we should be going to at least $120,000. And that is looking at like within this year. That's not even talking about 2025, right? So again, we have seen periods like this before. We have seen mini drops. No one remembers afterwards. So just make sure you guys do not get feared out of the market. Do not lose your conviction and faith in Bitcoin. This is the absolute worst time to be getting out. There's so many good things coming up, right? And I mentioned catalysts. Of course, the halving event is probably the biggest catalyst there is when it comes to Bitcoin. It happens every 4 years and inflation gets cut in half. There's no bigger catalyst than the halving event, okay? But this year, we have different catalysts. There's a lot of catalysts, in fact. Coinbase is in this nasty lawsuit with the SEC, and from the people that are monitoring the situation, that have listened to both sides, they think that Coinbase has a really clear shot of just dismissing the case altogether, so that they don't have to be in years of litigation with the SEC like Ripple did. That basically Coinbase could get the judge to dismiss this altogether based on the basis of SEC has lost a lot of lawsuits and their definition of investment contract or securities are invalid. So Coinbase can get the judge to believe in that and just dismiss the case altogether. If that happens, that's going to be absolutely enormous. Okay, not just for Bitcoin, but for everything. In fact, I think it's going to be way more bullish for the alts than Bitcoin. Like right now, if you look, alts dominance can also be charted. You have certain correction times, you have stable consolidation times, and you have parabolic times. I think Coinbase is one of those catalysts that will throw alts in a parabolic rise, right? Because primarily most people go on Coinbase to buy the alts. Well, I shouldn't say that. People go on to buy Bitcoin too, but Coinbase has hundreds of coins and tokens. I think it's going to be bullish for everything. This is a major catalyst. This sets a precedence that SEC can't just go after everyone and declares everything a security, right? This is kind of like the final straw for SEC. Final straw, you would say, for Gary Gensler. There's really nothing else left. Coinbase is the final boss for the SEC, and it seems like they're going to lose. And even if somehow Coinbase doesn't get this case dismissed and it has to go into litigation for quite some time, Coinbase still will probably win. It's just that it's going to take longer. But this could definitely happen. 70% chance, according to Bloomberg analysts. That's pretty good odds. Not even 50-50. 70% chance. Now, outside of Coinbase, you also have Elon. I talked about Elon last week. Some of you guys may not care about what he does anymore, which is fine. But he is going to launch that payment services this year too. Okay, so mid-2024, it could be late 2024. But again, it's all coming this year. This year is just absolutely going to be a huge year for crypto. You have Coinbase, okay? From a macro perspective, we have Fed rate cuts. That's also coming mid-year. We have the halving event, of course, and you got the payment service that's coming out. And there's very little details, but the X account has already been created. It's called X Payments. So people are starting to follow it already, right? Elon has talked about Doge a lot in the past. Will he be allowing crypto payments on this payment services, right? Maybe. It could be a big crypto payment services. It could be both. It could be fiat and crypto, right? That would make more sense to accept both and be able to use both. Maybe within it, there's going to be a massive crypto wallet too. Hopefully it's non-custodial, but probably not to begin with if you think about it. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening, right? That could be very, very bullish. And speaking of Dogecoin, even though no one asked about Dogecoin, because of this X payments page, Doge hits a 7-day high. And we know Doge has never gained any strength since the Elon SNL skit from 2021, right? It's been in a downward spiral ever since then. But maybe this is the time. People are even like charting Doge, saying because of X payments and because on a MACD it's forming the first ever golden cross. Can Doge go parabolic just like it did in 2021? Let's see. I wouldn't be surprised either way. If it does, great. I think a lot of people will make back some money. That's great. If it doesn't, it wouldn't surprise me. Let's just say it could, both ways would be good or not good. Both ways would not surprise me. Let's just say it that way. But outside of Doge, of course, you have a lot of other things going on this year. Ethereum is going to deploy their new upgrade, which actually helps layer 2s. Not Ethereum itself. It actually helps layer 2s. So all the L2s out there, they're going to be able to operate more cheaply, and even more efficiently. So this upgrade actually really helps all the L2s out there. And essentially, I think Ethereum's thinking if it helps L2s, they help Ethereum itself. That's also coming up, right? And there are a lot of ETH whales that are still accumulating, just like Bitcoin whales, right? Like these big boys, they don't go away. They know what's coming. They keep on stacking some more. So just follow what these big boys are doing. If you're fearful and you don't know what's going to happen, pay attention to these big boys, because all they do is buy and load up more and more and more so. So they know what's happening. They know what's going on, right? And they know this volatility, this fearful period will be over soon. And then no one's going to remember. Remember, you got to buy low and sell high, right? That's what these guys are doing. So, and then lastly, Solana. In terms of Solana has gotten weaker recently, obviously, because the entire altcoin market has gotten weaker. But you know what? What's not weaker is their volume. Stablecoin volume, high, 300 billion in January. I believe that's even higher than Ethereum and many other chains. They're the fundamentals of Solana. Okay, I always say fundamentals of Bitcoin. Fundamentals of Solana is increasing, is getting higher and better, and this is despite the price going down. So think about that, right? It's almost like it's a mini Bitcoin. I'm just kidding. It's not a mini Bitcoin, but it is doing well if you're measuring the metrics, which is very positive, especially when, the market's weaker. All right, that is pretty much it. Overall, guys, don't let these big boys eat up all your Bitcoin, okay? There's an enormous amount of Bitcoin being transferred, an enormous amount of wealth transfer going on right now. Don't be one of those people to transfer your potential life-changing wealth to fund managers that could care less about your life-changing wealth. They just want it. They just want what you have. Don't let them get it. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right. Let's see what I miss. Let me scroll up here. Lucky Sky is still sharing like 1 million memes on Solana. So thanks for that. Joey Ray says, what scares me is the miners might turn off the machines because it's not profitable. We have seen periods like that before. Okay, I don't think that's anywhere near the case. To mine in Bitcoin is like 20,000, 25,000 these days. So they're still way into profit. However, if it happens, if they turn out the machines, we have seen periods like that where Bitcoin gets extremely volatile, right? But I think it's way too early to make that call right now. Let's see here. Max the Frenchie says meme coins are popping on Solana. Yeah, you could show whatever you have, but I'm not going to talk about it. Binance versus SEC today in court, 10 a.m. What did they? It's not Binance, right? What else did they have to argue today? Well, it's good to know, but I don't know. I don't know what else they have to determine other than CZ. Let's see. The kid says, I'm excited. We should all be excited. Good. Let's see. BTC daily RSI below 40, getting bullish. Yeah, if you're looking at a chart perspective, I'm not a big charter at all, but if you're looking at, like, let's say the 4-hour, stochastic RSI is bottomed out. You can see right there, right? And then RSI, like you said, is below 40. So those are pretty good signs, meaning Bitcoin is oversold, right? But I always discount TA because, you know, you just don't know what the big boys are doing. The market makers, if they want to manipulate, they want to cause a pump or dump, it will happen. The winning strategy is to ignore the volatility and continue to do their ways, and that is to continue to hold on DCA. That's really it. So when we're presented low prices, you can think about it as if Bitcoin and crypto are on sale, and then you could take advantage. You could buy more. You could buy the dip. All right, let's see here. What else I scrolled through? Do you think Bitcoin will touch 38? I mean, we're not too far off from there. A lot of people have said, oh, we're going to touch 38. It could happen. It could not happen. Like, from this point, it's only 2,000 points away. If it happens, it happens. Google has become official Solana validator. It will surpass Ethereum in the market value. Pit Network is a bargain price. What's your opinion, Master? I'm very bullish on Solana. So yeah, I do think they're going to do very well this year. As for Pith, you know, they're not only Solana Oracle. They're actually on their own chain. They're not. Yeah, I'm not as bullish on Pith as I am on Solana because they're competing with Chainlink, and that there's a big, vast difference between the two. Let's see here. Jamie is asking, do you think Cock will touch Kulo? Well, I'm hoping Kulo rises to the same levels as Cock. That's what I'm hoping for. BTC is down because all the retailers are buying memes. Come on, George, you know better. No, I don't. And that has nothing to do with Bitcoin. And you know that. You're just trying to, like, you're trying to frown upon memes, which I get, because memes basically have no, they're not building anything. They're not based on anything, right? It's just a bunch of people that are that are buying something that they believe in. I see nothing wrong with that. As long as it's a good community and it's not a rug, then it's fine. A lot of them have great communities and turn out to be like Doge and Sheeb and everything else, and I guess Bonk and all these big caps. It happens. So if you want to degen a little bit of your portfolio, I see nothing wrong with that. Retro Bill. I thought it would be all uphill. I'm so scared. I missed the safety on my bank account. Kidding. T-Lock says, you said most of your viewers are above 30, but your chat questions show me that they're a bunch of kids. No, you'd be surprised. Most men are kids forever. I think that's what you don't realize. Even 40, 50, 60-year-olds, okay, they act like 20-year-olds in a live chat or among other guys. That's usually how it happens, how it is. I think maybe you just don't hang out with people enough. Revolution of Apnea. What a name there. George, you were asking about memes the other day. Did you check out Bork? It's on Solana. And it has recognition of totally the founders and its utilities as their validator. I did not. And you're implying I was asking about memes the other day? I wasn't asking for new memes. Let's see here. Ryan says, yeah, I'm 38 going on 18. I mean, when you get a group of guys together and just, shooting shit, basically everyone's like a teenager. Like, guys never really change. All right. ICP will replace Google. That will not happen. What is a realistic multiple for Myro? I don't know. Myro is getting so strong. I mean, despite everything coming down, it's still holding really well at 195, almost 200 million. Even WIF. Yeah, WIF is getting really close to Myro. A lot of weakness with WIF right now. So Myro might actually flip WIF soon on Solana. It would be really amazing if Myro gets listed on Coinbase before WIF. Then it becomes the next bonk. But since someone mentioned Bork, someone asked about Bork, and I mean, that doesn't look very good. I don't think Anatoly is supporting this at all. What happened to Kulo? Kulo is still doing good. Relatively speaking. Not near their high, but considering the market is showing weakness, pretty good. Love from Israel. Is F2 Pool playing games again? You know what? That's a good question. Even though, those of you guys that were around in 2021, when I discovered F2 Pool was dumping massive amount of Bitcoins, Crypto Quant just like removed all the metrics that measure it, and then now you can't really see it anymore. So it's really hard to say. I think F2 Pool like paid off Crypto Quant. So because it was like really high and all of a sudden, boom, nothing. Like you couldn't see it anymore. So, yeah, I don't know if there's another way to measure that. Hopefully not. Ponk. Yeah, that just sounds stupid. It's a stupid name. When you have a meme that sounds stupid, it's not going to do well. Well, I guess it's doing relatively well, but it's a stupid name nonetheless. And I'm not going to be supporting that. Jose, you and your basketball court, of course you're not panicking. Cristiano says BDC is going to dump. Just get it over with already. I want to keep scaling. You just don't know. You just don't know. For example, a lot of people are calling 38 Bitcoin, right? Which we're not too far off, but I'm sure there's a vast number of people out there that set their buy order at 38. But we never hit 38. Let's say we just stable out at 40, and then we start going back up to 45, 49, 50 plus, right? Then you would have missed out on golden opportunity to get in at 40, right? So that's why, I don't know. A lot of times I just feel like if you're going to buy, just set a certain percentage. Like if you see the market go down by like 10%, 15% or whatever, you could set a percentage for yourself to buy the dip, or just forget the volatility, just set it according to time, like every 2 weeks, every paycheck, every Friday of the month or something like that. And just don't worry about it. That's the right way to do it. But here's the thing. Speaking of percentages, right? If you were going to set, let's say, well, I'm going to buy something after it's down 15% or 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever it may be. I mean, you look at Bitcoin's metrics, I mean, their price action, right? This puts things into perspective. It's down 2.75% for 24 hours. Okay. Down 3.77% for the week. That's still single digits. It's down 7% for last 30 days. So even if you set a percentage and say, I want to buy Bitcoin after a 10% dip, I mean, it hasn't even dipped 10% in the last 30 days. So like, what are we really talking about here? In the last 60 days, it's still up 11%. So is this like a major dip, a major drop? Is this a period where you should really be fearful? No. I mean, it kind of sucks that we're not back to previous high, obviously, at 49,000. But still, if you're just measuring by percentage drop for the last month, Bitcoin is down less than 7%. It's not even a big dip at all. Now, what is a big dip is like XRP down 15%, or Cardano down 19%, or Avalanche down 31%. Now, that is a dip. That's a dip. Bitcoin has been very, very solid. But a lot of alts that are over 10%, especially like Avalanche right now. I'm really quite surprised by Avalanche. Man, they started like really strong a few months ago. Back in October and November, they became really weak. But that's my point. Like, if you look at a lot of these, like Solana, for example, is still less than 10% down. Doge, surprisingly, is it's about 10% down. But a lot of others are down, and that's where you could see there's good buying opportunities. Let's see. Joel Lamas, do you think Wall Street beatdown on Tesla stock is justified? Do you really think it's because Elon wants 25% ownership of the company? I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think I've been calling this for a while. Like, I'm really bearish on Tesla cars in general and EV in general. Like, I think people are starting to realize that this whole push to get everyone an EV is just a bad idea. Like recently we had this Arctic chill, right? In Midwest and East Coast, down south in Texas, everywhere. We got all these like freak snowstorms and sub-zero temperatures, and EV cars just suck in cold weather. and charging takes a lot longer and all this stuff. It's like, you know, a lot of manufacturers, they're starting to realize that pure EV is not the way to go. So they're coming out with more like hybrids, which actually makes a lot of sense. So I think the Tesla effect's kind of like the Apple effect. When the iPhones first came out, the first few generations were so hot. Everyone wanted an iPhone because it's cool to have an iPhone, right? And then eventually it's like, it's like the same thing over and over and over again. So Tesla's kind of like in that, I feel like. It's like the draw, the appeal is starting to dissipate because you see Teslas everywhere now. And there's nothing new. And you always have range anxiety. No matter how long you had an EV car, range anxiety is real. And cold temperatures make it really bad. Like I couldn't even charge fully in my garage with my wall charger recently because it was so cold. I had to move the amperage down to make it charge. Like there's like weird stuff that happens in really cold weather. So I don't know. I think it's a combination of everything. And Cybertruck is not that well received. You know, a lot of people do not like the Cybertruck at all. And there's a lot of like, even though with all the great advancements, there's a lot of negative things about it. I just saw a video yesterday about Tesla. The Cybertruck has no pinch sensors. So basically the front trunk, it'll just cut off your fingers if it closes and your fingers are in the jam. It'll just cut them off. All the automated doors will cut your fingers off. The trunk will cut your fingers off. So basically, you better make sure that your fingers, your kids' fingers, no one else's fingers are anywhere close to those door jams or creases, you know, crevices or whatever, because they are going to get cut off. Like stuff like that. It's like, why cheapen on that? You know, probably another $200 worth of sensors could prevent all that, but they didn't put it on the Cybertruck. Stuff like that just makes me like very bearish on Tesla overall. Okay, I got to catch up here. Desert Crypto, GLB, Q5 or X3. I have not tested GLB. I've tested Q5, great car. X3, great car. I would say you look at the C class, the GLC instead of GLB. GLC is a little bit more expensive, but the new interior is really, really outstanding. All right. Team Collins. The cycle of buying OTC and selling marquee will repeat until they have all corrected. They won't buy in the market ever if avoidable. Of course, yeah. These big boys will never buy in the open market. They'll always buy OTC until there's just not enough. It's a bad idea to save the planet. See, that's where you've been brainwashed, Season 3 OG. EV cars do not save the planet. If anything, they damage the planet more. I think you should look into how batteries are made, where all the lithium is coming from, and look at, if you actually do research into how those batteries are made, they're much more destructive to the planet than the pollution from the cars. Pollution from like private jets and all these and commercial airliners are like thousandfold worse than cars. Yet no one is saying let's go to an EV private jet or an EV or electric commercial jet. If you look into how batteries are mined out of the ground and produced, you'll realize that no, they're not saving the world at all. In fact, they're destructing the world faster. Let's see here. I still think hybrids are a way to go. You could have an EV component that makes it a little bit more efficient, but still have a gas-powered motor in case you need it, right? Like Toyotas have become really good with hybrids. And Ford is going that direction. They realize going pure EV is the wrong way to go. What do you think about Solana's new meme? I'm not gonna look at these new Solana memes, okay? Everyone is just like coming in and trying to shill their new meme. There's too many of them. There's too many of them. Cristiano says, when you see headlines like 95% of S coins have failed, how do you pick a project to recover on these dips? First of all, I don't believe that. It's not 95%. Second of all, I don't know. Stick with page one. Stay with page one of CMC, the top 100. Sure, some of them will fail, but most will not. And pay attention to what the teams are doing. Right? Read in between the lines, put two and two together, look at the community, look at the roadmap, look at what their development, their partnerships, and everything else. Look at the momentum. Put it all together. They'll increase your odds tremendously. Let's see. I love EVs. Sorry, George. Agree to disagree. People that like EVs, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to diss on you. People that like EVs are people that don't like cars. That's just honest truth. People that could care less about cars and just want to go from point A to point B in warm climate areas. If you're in areas where it gets freezing and very cold and chilly, you don't like EVs either. So it's like a very selective group of people that can really benefit and love EVs. And here's the thing too, even America, when you drive anywhere, it takes longer, a lot longer when you're traveling in the EV because you have to wait. You have to wait for those superchargers to open up or whatever chargers. They take a lot longer and you have to like get off the path. A lot of times when you travel somewhere in the middle of nowhere, let's say, there's no charging station. So you have to, on the highway, you have to divert to some other big area with it and then go back. And then it takes you 40 minutes to charge. You put all that together, it takes even more time too. And here's the other kicker. If you're using those charger stations, the price per watt that you're paying is more expensive than gas. So you're not saving any money either. You only save money when you charge at home. When you charge at those EV stations, it's like 50, 60 bucks to charge like 70% of your, not even 80%, like more like 50 or 60% of your range. If you actually charge fully to 100%, which they don't allow anyways, it's going to be like $100. So it's not any cheaper either. So that's the other thing. So I got so many negative things to say about EVs. Anyways, splashing and smashing. Since 2021 as a newbie, I sold a few times and had to pay the fees, and then watched it go back up and had to buy higher. Now I buy every week. I have 35 in the market, buy and hold. Thanks for sharing. Congrats. That's the right way to do it. That's the right way to do it. Even if you were buying in 2021 all the way to the top and all the way to the bottom and now back up, that's you'll probably still be in the green right now. And congrats for doing so. Gas vehicles are on their way out whether we like it or not. That's true. I mean, that is true. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's just, I think there's too many pushes to make it happen too soon. There's no reason why we need to go all EVs by 2030, for example. That's only 6 years. That's not like 60 years. It's just too soon. You don't need to force that. You don't have to mandate that. Just let it happen naturally through the open market. If people are demanding it, then make it happen. But don't force it upon everyone. In Europe, it's like, I think in England, it's supposed to be like 2025 or something. In Europe and US, I think we both committed 2030 to being pure EV. I mean, I think that's a stupid idea. Pilot Mark, no offense, but everyone thinks that everything is going to be at Myro level or Blanc level or Sheeb level. Every meme holder thinks that's going to happen. It could happen. It could not happen. But if it's doing well for you and you're making money from it, great. And make sure you take some profits. Tony, yeah, I hate to get all depressed about it, but people like kind of just ignore that fact that if you look at where the lithium mines are and what's happening with them and how destructive it is, and to the people that are digging them out of the ground, yeah, people just like, it doesn't register in their heads. They just think, well, yeah, every EV car, is great for the environment. But they don't see all the other back end stuff that's happening. A lot of states increase registration price for EV to offset them not paying taxes on gasoline. That's also true. I just renewed my plate for my Tesla and it was like double the price. It was like $250, I think $250 to renew my registration, and my wife's car was like $130. So yeah, it's like double. Anyways, too much card talk. Let's conclude. Overall, guys, I know sometimes it sucks. It's fearful. When you see your portfolio go down, when you see Bitcoin go down, when everything's going down. But you know what's not going down? The portfolios of these big fund managers, okay? Despite the market downturn, guess what? They're adding more and more and more and more and more Bitcoins to their portfolio, okay? What's happening is there's a wealth transfer right now, and you don't want to transfer your Bitcoin or Solana or ETH or anything that you hold to these big boys that are definitely loading up. You want to follow what these guys are doing, right? So don't get feared out of the market. Make sure you stay in. There's so many good things happening within just a matter of months. So have patience, ignore the FUD, continue to accumulate in DCA and HODL. That's it. All right. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care.